I mentioned that I have 8 key behaviors and characteristics for chutzpah. So the word chutzpah has 8 letters. Let's think of it as an acronym, and each of those letters stands for a different key behavior and characteristic. So we'll go through those. You'll ask questions, and I'll have examples of how it works. So let's start with the C at the beginning of the word. Before telling you what that characteristic, what that behavior is, you're familiar with the brand Nike.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember what their slogan is?
Just do it.
Just do it. Okay. Just do it is about move ahead. Stop thinking about it. Stop weighing the positives and the negatives. You've done that already. Go ahead and do it. Now, they applied it to the idea that be the athlete you can be.
Yeah.
You take that and say, be the person you can be, pursue your dreams. Well, that idea of just do it is as old as humankind. We won't go back to the beginning of the cave person era, but back in the days, did you ever take Greek by any chance?
No, I do not know.
Okay. Well, there's a Greek phrase, carpe diem. Do you know what carpe diem means by any chance?
Nope.
Okay.
Can I take a guess?
Sure.
Is it just do it?
It's close. Carpe diem actually stands for seize the day.
Hmm.
Basically, the day is in front of you, the opportunity is in front of you, life is in front of you.
Yeah.
Seize it. Don't let it just happen to you. So carpe diem, I consider seize the day, seize the opportunity, is about the realization that somebody with chutzpah is more likely to go after what he or she wants, as
Yeah.
opposed to wait for things to happen. More likely to put themselves at risk to stretch personal barriers. So, are you familiar with the show Shark Tank?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, so I kind of joke about difference between somebody with and without carpe diem. Without, they're sitting in front of their TV, eating their bag of Cheetos and drinking their orange soda
Standard image, yeah.
and watching, and then going, "Oh my God, I had that idea 6 years ago. This guy just raised it, and he
I'm
just."
so scared of that. I really like all the ideas I have, I make sure to write them down because I'm so terrified that one day the idea that I have is worth like tens of billions of dollars. I just didn't do anything about that. That's such a big fear of mine.
Actually, you're doing a couple of good things. One, you realize that at some point, if it's a really good idea, you have to act on it. And
Yeah,
two, you've gotten into the habit of writing it down, which is critical because we all have ideas during the day. It could be related to a business meeting coming up, an idea for a product enhancement, a new product, a company. If we don't write it down, we are very likely to forget it at some point, especially if we're filled with ideas,
definitely. Yeah.
as it sounds like you are, and I imagine a lot of your audience members are as well.
Yeah,
So,
I know that for me personally, it happens so randomly. Like I'll just be in the shower even then, and I'll just get the idea that I like make sure after my shower, just make sure I write it down and put it somewhere because I can't emphasize that I'm so scared of just like one day realizing that I had the potential to become like a trillionaire, a billionaire, whatever the heck. But I was just so lazy that I didn't do it. Like that is such a big fear of mine.
well, when you become that, you don't have to be a trillionaire, but a billionaire, please consider me as a personal assistant.
I
Uh,
will. I'll make sure to hire you. $1 billion a year.
You got you well, no, you keep a good portion for
We'll,
yourself.
we'll, we'll split it 50-50, 50-50.
Okay. So the idea behind carpe diem is something that I have a feeling you do regularly. From what I saw of your profile, you have taken leadership roles and co-founded multiple student groups,
Yeah.
mostly business related, but some not business related. You've also done some work that I would consider to be for philanthropic organizations.
Yeah.
Basically, okay. So I have a sense that you are somebody that carpe diem. If something strikes you, sure, you may write it down because you can't get to it right then, or you have so many things on your plate, you'll get back to it when the time comes. But you go after things. You have an idea for a good student group, one that there's a void in campus, and you think that there are a lot of students that would benefit and be interested in what you're proposing, you go and you do it. Well, it's the same with starting a company, applying for a job. I spoke with another college group not long ago that was very concerned. This was towards the end of COVID, that one, they'd missed 2 years plus of their classrooms,
Yeah.
but they were still graduating, and they thought, how am I going to find a job? You have all the people who've been out a year or two who were in classrooms who are still looking for jobs. I'm looking for a job. What am I supposed to do? I guess I'll just put my name on a job board and see what happens. That's the lowest level of carpe diem you have. I'll put my name on a job board.
Yeah.
Highest level is I'm going to put my name on this job board, but I'm also going to reach out to all of my professors' colleagues or generate referrals from friends, from colleagues, from family. I will find opportunities on the web. I will register with every large recruiting service so they have my resume in their background. I'll make sure that I've done my SEO correctly so that if I'm looking for a particular type of job and I know the words that companies are using to find qualified candidates, that's sprinkled throughout my resume. That's carpe diem at a higher level.
I mean, how do you think people can, I guess, is the, I guess, degree or intensity of your carpe diem, is that something that you're born with, or how do you how is that changed in a way? Let's say, for example, the people who are applying to 2 jobs, the one person who doesn't really do too much and the one person who does a lot. Is that difference mostly based on their desire for the job, or is it based on some genetic psychological thing that happens in their brain? What really determines that intensity?
I'll give you the easy answer, which is what psychologists say for this
Oh,
type of
thanks.
situation is it's both.
Oh,
However, there are people I've run across who said to me, look, I'm an introvert. I don't want to be the leader. I'm frightened about getting up in front of groups. I don't have chutzpah. Okay. And I say, would you agree with me that chutzpah at some level is about stretching boundaries? And they go, okay. And I don't do that. So I'll say, okay,
yeah,
let me ask you a question. When you were younger, or do you ride a bicycle?
yeah,
And most of the time the answer is, of course I do. I say, do you remember when you learned how to ride a bicycle? Yeah, kind of. You went from training wheels and riding by yourself because the wheels supported you to your parents or neighbors or friends or older siblings running behind you, holding the bike steady, training wheels off, and then letting go. What happened? Because, oh my God, I was terrified. Did you fall? I fell several times. Did you get hurt? Yeah, I hate to say it, I did. I may even have cried a bit. Okay, but you got back on that bike and eventually you mastered that skill of bike riding. So
yeah,
yeah, and you still ride today. You don't even think about falling anymore. Carpe diem, chutzpah is the same thing. You stretch boundaries often enough, and that was an act of stretching boundaries. That was an act of chutzpah for this child who says, "I don't want to fall. I don't want to hurt. It hurts when I'm bleeding. I don't. Oh my God, I'm going to get sick. Mom, don't make me do this. Dad, you're being so mean." But they did it, and they learned. So we all learn at some extent from an early age how to stretch boundaries.
yeah. I think we all do, but we lose that when we get older because when we start incorporating the idea of chutzpah in our lives, I think the topic of money is so sensitive. And when you think of the risk of losing that, that makes you just go ballistic. You can't, the idea of not having a steady income makes people so fearful taking risks that they don't even try at all. And that's why I think it's so good to start young. And I guess make sure that you have the solid foundation for what you can start from. Like, for example, with the idea of riding a bicycle, I think that's so easy for people to do and wrap their heads around, that they did that. It's because, well, if they messed up, they can always get up and try again. And I think it's difficult for people to realize in their heads that, okay, let's say I start a small venture by myself. It may go to shit and I may go bankrupt everything, but you can still try again. And it's that persistence on a grander scale, on a more mature scale, that I think intimidates so many people, that we have this widespread belief that you should just stick to one job and not go anything beyond that because it's too scary in that unknown territory. But when in reality, I view, I guess, going to that unknown territory as the long-term solution. But a job is like a short-term solution in a way.
Right. Well, no sane person wants to fail. So the fear of failure keeps a lot of people from doing different things. I've seen people in companies who are much brighter and harder working than their bosses in small companies and should have gone out on their own years ago. But the fear of failing has kept them there.
What do
That's
you
why,
say to those people?
sorry?
What do you say to those type of people? Like, what do you like if you see that happening? Do you like what would you say?
That they, frankly, that fear, that failure is natural. We learn from our failure. Ultimately, they need to do what they're comfortable with. There's a well-known quote from, I'm saying it's well-known, I don't know exactly, but I think it's from Thomas Edison, where he says something to the effect of, I found in terms of how he
Oh
invented the
yeah, I
light
heard about
bulb.
this.
Right.
Yeah.
And basically, do you remember the quote?
Wasn't it like I found 10,000 ways to not make a light bulb? The one time that I did was the only one that matters, something like that.
Exactly. So in essence, that's about failure. But he didn't look at it as failure. He looked at it as learning, as
Yeah.
experience that ended up creating the light bulb that worked. Without those 10,000 failures, he wouldn't have been there.
Mhm.
So that's what I say. Look, you're going to fail. We all fail. And it could be in personal issues, it could be job, it could be company. Um, you can take calculated risks. You can recognize that a lot of what happens is truly beyond your control at times. And you can also recognize that luck may play a factor in your success or lack of success. So luck might be something that comes up later because it actually fits in one of my chapters, and how luck impacts chutzpah.
I think luck is a bit different because I think that luck can be two sides of the same coin, where if you have good luck, it's a reason why you should keep trying in a way, but if it's bad luck, it's a very common excuse in a way. I think that, like, if you're starting a business, right, you fail. But if someone else starts a business and they succeed, the common excuse is that, oh, it's just good luck. I had bad luck, they had good luck. So then therefore, if I'm a person who has bad luck, why should I even try at all? And I think that luck is it's a big crutch for a lot of people in a way. Because I think that's a very easy get out of jail free card if you just say, I'm unlucky, therefore I shouldn't try because I won't become successful.
Mhm.
I think luck is more so when you've done all the hard work and you meet that potential and opportunity. That's what luck is. I think it can be created in a way if you put yourself in the right scenarios.
Actually, yes, I think you can influence your luck by putting yourself in a better position. But let me ask this question. Um, it's an obvious one. Is winning a couple of $1 million in a lottery good luck?
I think I know where you're gonna go with this. Because if I say yes, you're gonna say, well, the people who win $1 million in lottery, they end up broker than they usually do before they started.
Some of them do, and that's actually a good point. You pay attention, without a doubt. There are people who have won good sums of money, enough to retire on, and they've invested wisely. So the good fortune, the good luck of winning a lottery, they leveraged into a stable environment for them and their families for the rest of their lives, because they didn't do stupid jaunts to Vegas. They didn't buy a yacht that they didn't need. They
Yeah.
elevated their standard of living,
Yeah.
but they didn't go crazy. So they were able to sustain it.
Mm.
That's good luck that's leveraged to security. And then there are some people who had the good luck to win and don't use the money well. They're buying gifts for people they don't know. They're responding to every hoax and fraudulent investor that's out there. Maybe they even fall into through boredom, becoming heavy drug users,
Yeah. I
which
think
is
that's a very common thing to happen. Like,
okay.
they don't know how to
So
manage their money, so they just throw it all away.
now, what about somebody who has bad luck to start? So let me think of a good example. Beginning of COVID, let's think of the businesses that shut down.
Mhm.
If you had a restaurant in those early days, you couldn't open up.
Then
People could
you
not
were done.
come anywhere. So that's very bad luck. Okay. For some, it meant I can't pay the rent. I'm personally liable. There's personal bankruptcy, there's business bankruptcy. I'm done. Yet we know of a lot of businesses that had to pivot, change course, in some cases dramatically because of COVID. So in the restaurant industry, you had some operators that said, this is crazy. I have a team of colleagues, people who've worked for me for years. They're like family. Can't just let them go. Let's put our heads together. Let's come up with something.
Yeah, I was gonna say that because so in your mind, would you think that the degree of luck or if it's good or bad is that determined after the event happens in a way? For example, like with the person who wins a lottery, like do you think someone who after going broke after winning the lottery, would they consider that winning the lottery good luck or bad luck still? I really wonder because I feel like they would say that was bad luck in a way.
If they did well with it and they leverage it into security, they'd say, boy, I was so lucky. I won the lottery and then I got good people to manage my money, my family's secure, I'm secure, my kids' college educations and graduate school, if they go, are all paid for. One of the most fortunate things that's ever happened to me.
Yeah.
If they ended up losing their friends, you have people committing suicide when all the money's gone, or when their friends leave them because they realize they had no friends to start with. They
Yeah.
were attracted to the money. So, yes, getting back to the restaurant situation, those restaurants that increased their delivery service and said, we have cooking kitchen facilities, we have employees with cars. Let's see if we can start delivering
Mhm.
on our own. Some of those restaurants, well, some of those restaurants survived. Some of them, the percentage of delivered food became so high that even when they reopened their restaurants themselves, and there was a lack of manpower, there was a shortage of labor, they were still able to offset it or more than offset it because they still had such a big delivery business going, and they could run that now through one of the delivery services, Uber Eats, any of these other services that really blossomed because either they saw that opportunity, there's going to be more home delivery, we should create an organization, or they happen to be in it. Look at Zoom. I've been
Yeah.
using Zoom, but way before COVID. But when COVID hit, suddenly Zoom became a verb. It's like it was no longer, it was so popular a brand, it's associated now with almost anybody going online for a virtual meeting.
Same with Google. Like you don't really say that I'm a search for it. I'm a
Right,
Google it.
right. So that's where good luck and bad luck, yes, we're all subject to it. And we can't always control what happens to us because of the luck of COVID, for example. But we are always in control of our response to those events. And we can choose to give up, we can choose to sit and wait, or we can choose to say, let's think of something. We've got a lot of bright, hardworking people here. We can figure a way out of this.
Definitely. Yeah.
So that's your carpe diem, and then we thrown in the luck side.